Guys, in today's video we are going to see about EIA methodology criteria. Okay, so in previous video we have seen about what is EIA methodology and what are the different types of EIA methodologies, right? So we have ad hoc, network, overlay, matrix, checklist. So all these are methodologies. Now even we have different kinds of project, right? We have groundwater, highway, land, forest, restoration. So we have different kinds of projects like this. So for what type of project, which type of methodology you have to select. So we have certain conditions even to select that methodology. Okay, so that criteria will be given or will be concluded by these four components. Okay, impact identification, impact measurement, impact interpretation and impact communication. So for every project you will go through all these four components, and based on the data which you have collected through this process, so you'll use that data to identify which methodology you have to use. Okay, so first one is impact identification. See, for every component in this you will be having sub components, I mean sub factors you can say. Okay, for impact identification, so you have comprehensiveness. That means the EIA method should contain the more information. Okay, exhaustive information about what, about the type of impact that particular project will create on the environment, such that all those impacts will be taken into consideration and it will help in the decision making process. Okay, and the second one is specificity. So specificity means, so the methodology, whatever the methodology we should be choosing, so that methodology should be able to describe all its parameters. So for example, you have taken a project and it is creating some consequences. So now how you have to choose a methodology is such that that methodology should be considered, or that methodology should be able to make sure that it includes all its consequences or the impacts that are causing on the environment. That means in previous video if you have seen, for each of the methodology we have beneficial effect, adverse effect, no effect. So in the phase of construction operation, so all these effects, it is beneficial or adversary. So that methodology should be able to have all these effects, it should be noted. Okay, that is specificity. It should be particular. Okay, discriminative means it should be able to distinguish the impacts. That means it should not be considered like all the impacts together as one. So it should be able to distinguish each and every impact on the project, and also how much possibility of its occurrence, like probability. Okay, and then temporal and spatial dimensions. So these methodology, whatever you are going to select in the next step, that should be able to identify the impacts on the temporal and the spatial scale as well. Temporal is temperature, spatial is land. Okay, and impact measurement, next component is, so in this also we have different criteria. First one is comprehensive. That means a comparison. So we have many kinds of methodologies, right? So this whatever the methodology you are going to choose, so first what you have to do is, based on the project you have to find the alternative methodologies. That means for example, you have taken project and you have chosen one methodology, let's say ad hoc method, and now you have to able to make sure that if ad hoc method is not suitable at some point of time, then you have to find its alternative in the remaining methodologies. Okay, you have to make sure that you will be enabled the swapping of the methods as well. Okay, then extensiveness. So it is like how much, okay, how much quantitative measure of impact. That means how much scale that particular impact will be causing consequences or causing some effect on the environment. That is extensiveness. Extensiveness is how long or how much it causes effect. And then objective. So the methodology, the main, whatever the, all these four components are like they'll make sure that the next step is the methodology choosing, right? So that step should be based on the data on all these four components. So here only they'll specify that okay, in the next step you will be going to what do you say, you'll be going to select one methodology, and that methodology should be in this way. Okay, that is what here all four components. So here also objective is you should be selecting the methodology in the next step such that that methodology will show its objective. That means rather than it should be able to provide the practical experience or practical results rather than the subjective results. So we know it, right? So while doing the project, for example, if you take any highway project, so subjectively, that means without any practical calculation, you will just estimate that okay, if you build the highway project, this land will be affected and the air will be affected and we'll get so much of noise here, and the vehicles should be enrouted to some other route. So you will just subjectively, that means without doing any calculations and without taking any data from external sources, you will just estimate it. So that is what here subjective. Okay, so instead of that subjective, you should make sure that you will provide all the objective methodologies. That means you have to consider land parameters. Okay, that means the land, okay, how much, here it's 10 kilometers, so this 10 kilometers will not be affected for the land. So in subjective, what it is affecting the land, but here after considering the land space, I mean the distance, we can say that this land will not be affected. So you have to be make sure that your objective should be based on the practical and not the subjective. Okay, next component is impact interpretation. So interpretation is what you have to understand the data. So whatever the methodology you are choosing in the next step, you should be able to understand that methodology, and you have to make sure that why only that methodology you are using, and how much sure you are that this methodology will result all the impacts that are causing on the environment. Okay, and if you take this methodology and if you do the project, how much risk we are we have to face. So here significance, whatever I mentioned till now is all those points will I have written separately here. So the complete picture or the complete description is just before what I said. Okay, it should have certain criteria, it should have some importance, so to evaluate the project impacts, and here I said, right, surety. So it should make sure that that methodology whatever you are choosing will give you the all impacts that are causing on the environment, and it should also able to provide the risk estimation as well. Okay, and then impact communication. So this is the last component, and in this component what you have to do is this is fourth one. Okay, this is a communication part. Okay, that means whatever the while choosing the methodology or after choosing the methodology, so whatever the parties that will be affected, whatever the people, sorry, whoever the people will be affected, and how the description should go on, and whatever the summary format, that means whatever the complete summary of the project or summary of the methodology should be considered, and what are the key issues. So it's like you are delivering your complete process to the people. Generally we do it, right? For the environment team or agency team, you'll have communities, all those like that. So you have to make sure that you communicate all your results or all your description or whatever the keynotes you have, all those things you have to communicate it with the team. So after considering all these points only, you have to choose the methodology, so that methodology should be able to answer all these questions. So here each point is nothing but a type of question. Okay, thank you.